Hello and welcome. In this session, we're going to talk about how to set up a Blackboard Collaborate session within your course shells. Now, this is one of the synchronous sessions, so we're going to go through the steps and procedures that you need to. In this short session, you're going to learn how to set up a session, how to set up the links, and then how to launch it, and then a couple of the things that you can do once you have a synchronous session open. Well, the first thing you need to do is pick the folder that you want to start this from so that it becomes accessible to your students. Whatever folder that you want, you know that I use topics of study, but wherever you want to drop this, you can. And then under the Tools section, under the pull down, scroll down till you find Blackboard Collaborate and click. This will take you to Blackboard Collaborate, in where you can establish and schedule a session. Now, there may already be a session depending upon what your systems administrator has automatically put in, and most of the courses will have one, so you may see that. But you can add and create another session. Just click Create Session. What this will do, it'll take you to a Create Session window. Now, you can rename that session anything that you want it to be. You can set the start time, the end time. You can run through some other options and you can play with those to see what happens. But basically, once you've got this set, and I keep it very simple, I just rename it to whatever I want it to be that is something that I'll remember and something that the students remember, and then just click Save. Once you're into the session, then you can click on, like in mine, I used Example Collaborate Session. Just click on that and then you can add a link. This link then will create that link within the folder that you wanted to establish. Once you've done that, you just simply click on whatever the folder is and however you've set it up. So the folders will show, and you just check on that and then click Save again. What that does is it will put a link, Example Collaborate Session, into whatever the file folder and wherever you want, just like we add any of the other tools that we're doing. The other option that you have is to go through Tools, and then you can come down and click on the Example Collaborate Session if you want to enter it. But for your students, probably the best way is to go through the Example Collaborate Session and put that wherever you want in your particular file folders. Now, once you click on that, and however you get your students there and however you get there, you'll come into the room, and it'll just simply say Join Room. Now, what this is going to require, and you know from your own sessions and the ones we've done in class, that you need to make sure that you have the Blackboard Collaborate Launcher. So this is something that you need to make sure is downloaded, and it's very simple to download from here. And you need to make sure that you tell your students to do so as well. I always tell people to check this ahead of time before the actual session so that all the technical issues are out of the way and that they can deal with it. Once you click on Join Room, this little window will come up if you have the Blackboard launcher, the Collaborate launcher loaded. Once that comes up, Blackboard Collaborate launcher, click OK. After a few seconds, the Verify application will come up. Just leave it alone. If you want to shut out of it, you can certainly cancel it, but it will just automatically launch on its own. And this does take a few seconds, as you've seen. Once this happens, you'll come up with this Blackboard Collaborate window that pops up, cable/DSL. Just click OK, and what that's doing is it's just looking for where to set this. Once that happens, once you click on that, after a few seconds, and you do have to be patient sometimes, a lot of this depends on your bandwidth and such, the window will pop up and it will open the session, and this is basically what the window looks like. Now, from here you've got several options, and one of the first things I'd tell you to do would be if you look right under your name. Now, this is mine here, but if you look, you see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different little X's over top of different things. What you want to do is take those X's off, and all you do is just click on those, and you open up the microphone, you open up the webcam access, you open up access to a whole bunch of other tools, sharing, the web, the ability for students to write. All of those things become part of what you're looking to do. Other things that you can do here is you can now share and write on a whiteboard. You can share applications. Now this is the important one, and this is one I've found to be very, very useful. You can allow students to take control of the session, and they can show things from their desktop, or you can share from your desktop. It's however you want to do it and whatever you want to have them do. So all you do is, if you give them access over there by clicking that off, you can tell them to go up and click on this share function, and they can share their one. And if you don't want them to do that, then you can click on this back over here, and right here you can click on this back here, and this will show that they don't have access to it, or you can give them access as you need. So those are some options. The other thing is, you can have them go out on the World Wide Web. You can go out on the internet and show them whatever you want. Now, one of the things that pops up is this recording reminder, and one of the things that I tell everybody to do is to archive it for students that weren't able to make it. There's a record of what you did, what was said. It's a full video, and it's actually good to keep archives of what your synchronous sessions have been all about. The other thing that you can do along this toolbar, since you've got the whiteboard up here, you can put text in, you can draw, you can do borders, you can put graphics in. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do here on a whiteboard, no different than you would if you were working on a dry erase board in a face-to-face class. This just gives you some options under which to do some explanation, do some teaching. This is just a lot of opportunity for some interactions. Now, one of the other things that you're going to need to do is, the way Collaborate sets things up, it minimizes the number of people that can talk at one time. Now, you can maximize that up to a maximum of 6. In order to do that, click on the Tools menu, find Audio, click on Audio, and you will see Maximum Simultaneous Talkers. Click on that. Once you do so, then this little window comes up. Now, it default sets at 3, but what you can do is click that all the way up to 6, and then click OK. That means that 6 people can talk at once. If you have more than 6 people in a session, what you're going to have to do is have people raise their hands. And if you see right above the main room, there are some emoticons, there's hands raising, there's checks, there's all kinds of things that you can tell your students to use, and that will allow them to, raise their hands sort of, and then you can give them access to the microphone. But by raising this to 6, that limits your need to do that. And it just makes things a little easier for you. The other thing that you can do is, if you note directly below the main room, you've got a chat room function there. Now, this is something that takes a little coordination, but that chat room function is actually kind of an interesting thing. While you're talking, while other students are talking, while you're showing people things, people can also type in questions, responses, answers. So it's almost like you're simultaneously doing things, and this takes a little bit of a skill set, because you have to practice not only talking, watching everything, but watching who and what's being typed into the chat function. So it's kind of an interesting add-on to it. The other things that are kind of neat, and you've seen this, is you can talk and you can click on video. Now, the video feed allows you to use a webcam so that people can see you. You can see everybody else in the class, and it just provides access. Some computers, and you can tell your students this, and you may need to do it, you may need to put your webcam into instant message capture mode. It's just a different way. Just put it into instant message, and then what that does is it just streams it. So that it allows you to see, them to see, all of those kind of things. And I find that there's some value in at least seeing people. One of the things that I will tell you is, when you're doing something like this, you now have to get into lighting, especially if you're like me, where you have more of an overhead lighting glare problem. You just need need to be aware of the lighting issues. Generally, I find lighting from below is a little bit better and a little easier to follow. So these are just some of the basic ideas and concepts, some interesting things. And I will tell you, the synchronous chat, I've used a number of different pieces of software. We've used Wimba, I've used Adobe Connect, and there's a bunch of these others out there. They're all virtually the same. I just find that the Blackboard Collaborate is actually much easier to use than many of the others. Well, as always with any presentation, if you've got questions about anything, please don't hesitate to drop me an email. I'll be glad to help and explain any of the issues that you have. Good luck, and I look forward to seeing you.